What's up, everybody? This is Glenn back with Big Jack. We're rich. We're fresh off a 6-0 week in week 8, going into week 9 with the best bets of a weekend video, NFL style. 3-0, 3-0, which was needed for the boys. Puts me at a 14-10 record on the season. Gets you to a spot where you can start making a move to get back to 500 at 9, 14-1. Jack, great week. For those who don't know at home, I play all of both of our plays, and then I also parlay them every week. So I had a little $50 parlay. I paid like $2,500. It was pretty sweet. That with everybody but played straight. It was roughly 400 into 3 grand this weekend for me. So I was pretty excited about that. Jack, how you feeling?
Feel good, man. It was nice to have a good week finally after the way the start of the season's gone. 3-0, and honestly, it was zero sweats. I had the 8 point and 7 point dogs that were outright winners, and
Yep.
then the Bills absolutely obliterated the Seahawks. That game was never really much of a contest. So yeah, still a lot of work to do. Still treading water, but yeah, hopefully we keep it moving in the right direction and sort of are able to ride the wave of that 3-0 week.
Yeah, you really had no sweats. I actually have to throw a thank you out there to the Green Bay Packers. They had a chance to score late to cover their side of the spread, but I was on Jacksonville against them, and Jacksonville was letting them into the end zone, and Green Bay just fell down to waste the time. And when that happened, I was like, okay, we got a shot at this thing, and it was fucking beautiful. So shout out to Green Bay Packers. Uh, Not often
Hey
I'll do
man,
that, but I'll give them
winners are winners, losers are losers. There's that's all you really need to know at the end of the day.
no
And
doubt
that
about it.
hitting the parlay, I'm not much to advocate for running the parlays. It's there's a reason that the odds are what they are, and it feels like they're certainly in the book's favor, but you're sort of set for the season after hitting the lick on that one.
Yeah, man. I don't want to. It's kind of a rare thing with the way we do this. We each pick three, and then I always do the same thing. And I've been really good about just staying steady with the same size bets, same everything. I want to say the last 3 years it's hit once a year, which when that happens, it makes it pretty tough to be a loser just on these straight bets. But as a show, we get back to right real close to 500. Let's have a good week and let's get above 500. With that being said, I'm gonna hop into my first pick of the week. I'm gonna go the Detroit Lions, a team that we're not true believers in on the show, I'd say in general, but I think this is a good spot for them. I think the Packers are reeling in terms of health. And even though it's at Green Bay, I think Detroit goes up there. I think their Lions are able uh, to win the line of scrimmage. I'm not going to say dominate. And I'm seeing it right now at Detroit minus 2.5. I like them to win by at least a field goal. I just think they got a lot of firepower on offense, and I think Green Bay come end of the season. I think I would probably bet on them over the Lions when it matters down the stretch. But in this spot, I like Detroit. I'm gonna go Detroit minus 2.5 as my first pick.
I like it. I mean, I it's tough to pick against Detroit right now. I feel
Yeah.
like neither of us have really taken advantage of this streak that they've been on the entire year, really, outside of that one blip on the radar early on against the Bucks. But I mean, they gotta be like close to 6-2 against the spread, something like that. I know they're 7-1 overall. Yeah, I don't know. They're kind of just bullying everybody week after week. They keep getting big numbers and they take care of them. And then even the games that feel like trap games, I thought that Minnesota game was a little bit of a trap game the way it looked on the board. They're just covering everything, winning everything. They've just kept it rolling. I know last week was their first. Maybe it was their second game without the Aiden Hutchinson. I think the first one was against the Vikings, but that offense is getting it done, man. They had 1 point last week there where they had like 49 points and Jared Goff had thrown for like 30 yards, something ridiculous. I don't it's kind of crazy how easy they're making it look right now. So yeah, I got nothing to say against that, and I think it seems like Jordan Love is probably going to play.
Yeah.
And as crazy it is to say, given what you might have thought after last year going into this year, I almost don't know if that's a bad thing for the Packers right now. I don't know if it's partially the way LaFleur will take a different approach when Jordan Love's not back there, and maybe he's setting Malik Willis up for a little bit more success. But Jordan Love's been bad, and he like consistently bad, not like a couple bad games or a bad, half or something like that. It's just been pretty consistently bad over the course of the season. They're winning in spite of him, so they still have a hell of a football team, unfortunately for Bears fans. But yeah, I don't know. Hard to have much faith in Jordan Love right now. I'm going to go also a divisional game. I'm going to go opposite, though. You're kind of laying the lumber with that divisional road favorite. I'm going to take the Giants in an ugly game. They've been bad. Daniel Jones has been bad. I think they've scored one touchdown the entirety of the season in their own building. They're at home this week against the Commanders. They're getting 3.5. Washington, I think, we don't need to get into the way that game ended against the Bears last week, but Washington was not impressive to me
No.
at all. Jaden Daniels was not very impressive to me. I know the Bears have an excellent defense. I just think that it's a game that's tight. People like the Commanders. They're high in the story. They like the rookie quarterback. I mean, what's not to like, to be fair? But I think the Giants find a way to compete at home. They've been getting embarrassed the past few weeks. I think they sort of get it together, man up, look for maybe, Malik Neighbors to go off a little bit, give them some juice, that run game to do something for them. And I like them to keep it within a field goal. So I'll take the Giants plus the 3.5.
Yeah, I like where your head's at in this, and I agree with a lot of your points. Commanders being media darling of the earliest season, probably. Um, I do worry that the Giants' offense just won't be able to score enough points, kind of like how the Bears were struggling. I do see a game where the Commanders, especially with Daniels' ability to pick up the random first down on like a third and long and stuff with his legs, I could see it being kind of awkward like that. I don't think Washington's like far and away the better team in this game, but I don't know. I'm not on this game. I don't know if I got a side I like more than the other, but I agree with your overall points that Washington does seem to be overhyped a little bit. So I do agree with that. My second game, I'm going to pick a big spread that doesn't make a ton of sense for how big it is in my mind. And I'm going to go with the Eagles minus 7.5 at home versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. I feel like this should be more like a 5.5 point game or something like that, maybe six. 7.5, it just feels to me like they're begging you to take the Jags. Hope they cover. I think the Eagles are going to be able to run for like 200 yards against the Jaguars. Saquon Barkley, plus their two touchdowns is plus 265. Over 100 yards is plus money too. I like him to have a huge day. I like the Eagles to win that game. I like the Eagles to win at least by 7.5. That's my second pick of the week. Philadelphia minus 7.5.
Yeah, they've been rolling, really have. Some of the analytics people like to look at, that EPA per play. That's a big indicator of success, at least according to people who know more about this sort of thing than I do. But they're one of those teams that's been rolling in a lot of those statistics, a lot of those categories. They've been playing good football. I sort of talked about a couple weeks ago how it seemed a little odd what was ever going on with Nick Sirianni and some of the coaching staff, some a little infighting potentially, but who knows if that's just, fluff and not much to it. But they're taking care of business. There's no doubt about that. I don't see why they wouldn't continue to do so. It is a big number. I know Jacksonville's banged up, though. I think all their weapons, for the most part, are questionable. ETN's missed the past few games. Bigsby's been playing well, but he's questionable now. I
They've
know Brian
traded
Thomas is
away. They've
questionable.
traded like away a few trench pieces too. So like I get
Cam
that too.
Robinson to the
Yeah.
Vikings. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting. Big line, but Jacksonville, to their credit, has been competitive since since that Bears game, really, they got embarrassed by the Bears. And a lot of times when you're a team who has everyone's got aspirations going into the season, but Jacksonville had some pretty high hopes. Lawrence has got the big contract. They thought they were going to have a nice bounce back season, a little bit softer schedule, yada, yada, yada. And it just hasn't happened for them. And it's really easy, I think, sometimes to kind of just roll over and, you just start 1-4, 2-5, whatever the case. And, that's sort of all she wrote. They seem to be competing week in and week out, as indicated by your play last week on them. But yeah, I think I like the Eagles to keep it rolling more so than I would look to back the Jags on that situation on the road. My next game, I'm going to go to the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to take them at home -3.5. Um, Kind of hate that it's the hook, but I have -3.5 at even money. So, not the worst thing in the world. Dallas just seems lost. I don't know if they have it this year. It's crazy that NFC East now it's going to be 20 years in a row where there's been no back-to-back division champs. That's kind of insane when you think about it. But yeah, they're just falling off. The defense isn't the same. Obviously, the Micah Parsons injury is a big deal. Losing Dan Quinn seems to be a big deal. Dak Prescott is good at times, but not what the quarterback that he was last year. I don't know how much you can get away with simply force feeding CeeDee Lamb, as incredible of a talent as he is. Um, when that's all they got, you either just let him eat and take away everything else, or maybe you kind of zone in on him. But defenses just seem to figure out a way to keep them at bay for the most part. Um, the only thing I worry about in this game is what I always say about Kirk Cousins led teams is I know it's going to be a tight game. I don't see the Falcons winning by more than a touchdown, so it's going to kind of be right in that window of 4 to 7 points. I just hope we get over the 3.5 and are able to cover. I also think it's an attractive line to bettors. I think you see Dallas; they're still, America's team. People are going to be all over them. I think getting 3.5 is still an attractive spot for a desperate team that needs a win. And I think it goes the other way. I like the Falcons to take care of business.
I like the pick. You just nailed it with one of the statements you made, and it's just Dallas seems totally lost. They seem lost, and I think Atlanta takes care of business at home. They go on their trap. They take care of the trap. I like Atlanta -3.5. That 3.5 number too. You hate the hook, but at the same time, is it like, are they begging you to take Dallas? You know what I mean? So it's that weird thing where I don't know. All right. I've had a really tough time trying to pick my third game this week. I've crossed out a number of games. I'm sure it'll end up biting me in the ass. At the end of the day, I got to be true to myself and the number one game I believe in, despite maybe looking like a fool at the end of the day. There's been a team I've been hating on all season. Don't believe in them. It's the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going Oppo. I'm picking the Broncos to go to Baltimore, keeping it within 9, covering that spread. The Baltimore defense has been exposed. They are not playing good football right now. That Ravens offense is legit. I'm not saying it's not. At least for the regular season, I don't know how much I believe in that offense when it comes to playing some of the topper defense or some of the top defenses in the league in the playoffs. But in the regular season, that offense is fucking legit, no doubt about it. Derrick Henry offers an element that they really just didn't have before with their backs. I'm not disputing that. That being said, 9 points, a lot of points. I think Denver's a solid team. I think it's kind of a square pick for me to pick Denver, but I'm going to do it. Denver +9. That's my third pick of the week.
Got nothing to say negative about that one at all. I mean, the Ravens seem to have these fourth quarter issues going back to last year a little bit. So even, in a game like that with such a big number, even if they are kind of running away with it, I think the back door is going to be open. Denver's been playing great, so I agree that the number is a little fishy that it's so far out just because of how well Denver has played and how strong Denver's defense is. I'm not privy to whether or not maybe there's a little bit of injury situation at play that's sort of affecting that number. But I also know, I don't know the exact figure off the top of my head. I'm not on this game, so I didn't, circle it up or anything. But the Ravens, when they catch more than a touchdown, are horrible against the spread, especially at home. So I think you have a good trend in your favor for that play. Yeah, maybe the Ravens bounce back after an ugly loss and they're just hungry to go stomp somebody, but that's too many points. I certainly wouldn't want to be on the Ravens. Last one for me. I'm kind of in between two things. Usually I'm pretty locked in on my three and stick with them. I'll give it a shot. I'm not going to do it just because I very rarely, if ever, do it. I really like the over in the Packers Lions game. I have it at 47.5. I don't know. I couldn't look away from it. Usually I don't even flirt with over unders. I think that's a good play, but I'm not going to lock it in. I'm going to go back to the well. I'm going to take the Rams on the road -1.5. I couldn't tell you why they're a favorite. I think it's bizarre that they're favorited on the road against the Seahawks. Like I said last week when I picked the Bills, Seattle has not been good at home. They looked horrible at home last week. I know it's an interdivision game, home dog in a division. Usually you just take the points and don't think twice about it. I think this one goes the other way. Rams, not the best defensive team, but they're getting healthier on the offensive side of the ball. Sounds like Puka Nakua actually picked up an injury during practice this week. So I think he's probably going to be out. I think last I saw he was listed as questionable or limited in practice, game time decision type situation. Either way, I like Stafford to kind of keep that offense rolling. I think he's a guy who knows where he's at this point in his career. And even though that team, on paper might not seem like they have much Super Bowl aspirations, the NFC in particular is so wide ass open. I think you get in, anyone gets in, and they're going to have a hell of a chance to get to the Super Bowl. And then in one game in the NFL, only God knows what could happen. So I think he's going to be, highly motivated, him and McVay, to keep proving people wrong, keep proving that they can win some football games and compete for the playoffs. I think they go into Seattle, find a way to get it done by at least a field goal.
I love that pick, Jack. When the Rams played the Vikings, that game they were locked in, man. They got the eye of the tiger. They know that this season's not over. They know that they're getting healthy. They know they're capable of going on a run. When you got McVay, Stafford, those wide receiver core, their offensive line's decent. Defense, it's young, but it's getting better. It's a team that absolutely could go on a run. In Seattle, while they're not a bum ass team, they're not a team that's going to scare anybody. So that's a 1.5 is a small number. I like them going to Seattle. 12th man is not what it used to be back when they had the Legion of Boom. It just isn't. Seattle doesn't scream like a tough place to play for me. So I like that pick. I like the Rams. All right, quick recap for everybody. Jack is on the Giants +3.5, Atlanta Falcons -3.5, and the LA Rams -1.5. I am on Detroit Lions -2.5, the Philadelphia Eagles -7.5, and the Denver Broncos +9. We went 6-0 last week. Let's just try to go positive this week. We'd be asking for a lot to try to bounce back with another 6-0 performance. You never know; it could happen, but let's just go positive. Let's keep stacking those positive weeks and get after it day by day. So, any last words for the fans, Jack?
No, I mean, speak for yourself. I got to go 3-0 every week the rest of the way just to get back north of 500 by the time we wrap this thing up. So
You're
hopefully we
right.
keep
Let's
it
go
rolling.
6-0 again. You're right.
Bears.
Bears.